And every day after that, whenever she would get into my vehicle, she would always give me this look like she didn't want me to talk to her. Like I was a Debbie Downer, and when I opened my mouth, it made her feel sad. And I remember like that was literally me all the time. I was that way with everyone because there wasn't anything that was good occurring in my life. Nothing for me to attach the feeling of joy or happiness to. So I was always down on myself. I was always doubting myself. I never believed in myself. I didn't have anyone else around me expressing belief in me either. And even if I did, it probably wouldn't have been enough. Because what is it for someone else to believe in you when you don't believe in you? How you guys doing today, and welcome back to a different perspective. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Today we're going to be getting into the topic of self-doubt. This is going to be a tough one for me because God knows how long I have lived with self-doubt. So we're going to get into this. So expect that I'm going to be doing a little explaining of some of my own self-doubt and what I have done over the years to turn my self-doubt into self-belief. So let's get into it, man. I'm gonna have to start with a story. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know exactly where this is gonna go. Or even the story that I'm gonna tell is just gonna come from the heart. And that's about the best that I can do. Before we get into this, if you're not following us over on Patreon, then you might be missing out on getting this content a little sooner. Today's Monday. The Patreon members are getting these videos, these uploads on Monday, but they don't go onto the channel until Thursday. So if you would like to get this content a little bit sooner and to start your week off a little different, then head over there to Patreon. The link is down in the description box below and become a member. Anyway, y'all, let's get into this. So when I think about self-doubt and how I experienced, oh my gosh, it literally showed up in every area of my life. Rather it been me not being able to do something that I wanted to do, like a sport or activity, or not feeling like I was suitable for a certain type of job position, or going to school and getting better grades, to my dating life, to having confidence in myself, my self-esteem. Self-doubt showed up everywhere. Me, it was like I was walking self-doubt. It might as well have been written in bold letters across my forehead. Self-doubt, low self-esteem. Hell, it was so bad that I used to tell myself, and I did this for years, I used to tell myself that, man, I don't have low self-esteem or bad self-esteem. I have no self-esteem. If anything, my self-esteem is in the negative. It's like negative 100. That's what I used to tell myself. And partially, I think it was because of the fact that growing up, nobody had ever taught me what self-esteem was. Like, self-esteem was just, to me, it was something that you either had or you didn't have. It's like, yo, how do I acquire self-esteem? Like, nobody ever said, okay, this is what you need to do to gain self-esteem. They just said, yo, you gotta have better self-esteem. I'm like, what is self-esteem? I don't know what that is. Is it confidence? Like, what does that look like to have self-esteem? I doubt that I'll ever find that. There goes the word doubt. One thing that you're gonna find in these videos is gonna almost seem repetitive is the fact that what you focus on, the thoughts that you give emotion to, are the ones that become your reality. I might as well say it in every video, because even if I don't say it, it's still gonna come up that way if you really pay attention to it. Now, because I always told myself that story that, like, damn, you know what? I'll never be good enough to earn more money than I'm making. I'm not the type of person that's capable of doing something like that. I'm always gonna be fat. I'm always gonna be living in a terrible part of the neighborhood. I kept telling myself these things, and guess what? They were true. Why were they true? Because I emotionalized those thoughts, those ideas. There's a saying I once heard, and it goes like, the man that says he can is correct, and the man that says he can't is also correct. It has to start with belief. It has to start with faith. Now, I don't want to get into religion, because I'm not someone that studies or practices any single religion, but to have faith either in your religion or in yourself, which was very hard for me to understand. Yo, how do I have faith in myself? Something that was kind of hard for me to take a grasp of. Like, I have to have faith in me. I have to believe in me. That's literally the starting point of any of this stuff. One thing that I had realized in me, since for as long as I can remember, I had only been focusing on negative things. I remember I couldn't say anything that was positive about myself. There was nothing there that was good enough for me to hold on to, for me to feel good about. So I didn't believe in myself, and I most certainly didn't have any faith in myself. I felt like those were almost external things that I needed to grab a hold of in order for those things to really be a part of my life. I'm like, yo, where can I go get that? Like, can I buy that? Can I buy faith? Is it for sale somewhere? Where they sell it at? Because I need it real bad. So I had to make a decision though. I was like, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start with believing in myself. But I'm gonna make a decision that I'm gonna find a way. And guess what? That was all I needed to start. Was simply making the decision. Was choosing not to settle for my inadequacies. Choosing not to settle for the life that I was already experiencing, my misery. Was to make the decision that I was gonna do any and every single thing in my power to increase my self-esteem. And I'm gonna tell y'all a story right quick. Oh my God, whoo! And I just remembered it not too long ago. I remember I was at a job, this was about 4 years ago. I was driving a shuttle van. It was a minimum wage job. This was literally right before my mother passed away that I got this job. Literally about 2 months before she passed away, I had got the job. And I remember I was miserable at this job. There was no benefits. There was no overtime pay. There was no vacation time. It was just a minimum wage job. And I remember being at that job and this song came on, and I can't remember the name of the artist, but I had one lady that I was transporting and this song had played and the lyrics played, and y'all know how I do reactions, and I'm an empath, so I'm always feeling the words that are in music. But I remember this song had played. I remember the girl, she's a young girl, and she said something along the lines of, when she shows up to a party, she goes into a corner and just stands there the whole night. And I remember for whatever reason, I turned down the radio and I told the lady that was in the van with me, someone I didn't even know. And I remember I was like, did you hear what she said? I was like, that's how I feel. Whenever I go to a party, I'll just stand in a corner and don't talk to anyone. And I remember her response. She was like, that's sad. That sucks. And then after that, the look on her face was kind of just like, yo, this dude has a problem. There's something wrong with him. And every day after that, whenever she would get into my vehicle, she would always give me this look like she didn't want me to talk to her. Like I was a Debbie Downer, and when I opened my mouth, it made her feel sad. And I remember like that was literally me all the time. I was that way with everyone because there wasn't anything that was good occurring in my life. Nothing for me to attach the feeling of joy or happiness to. So I was always down on myself. I was always doubting myself. I never believed in myself. I didn't have anyone else around me expressing belief in me either. And even if I did, it probably wouldn't have been enough. Because what is it for someone else to believe in you when you don't believe in you? It does no good for you. So I remember maybe a week or two later, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he was somebody I knew since we were kids, and he put me onto something. One day he told me about this film and this book called The Secret, and I was like, The Secret? I'm like, what the heck is that? He was like, man, you're gonna love it. He's like, Bob Proctor's in it too. He's like, oh, I was like, oh, for real? I'm gonna have to check this out. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, The Secret, look it up. It's on Netflix if you have Netflix. It's absolutely incredible. And in The Secret, they had talked about law of attraction, which I had once heard Bob Proctor speak of. And I was like, wait, what is this whole thing? I was like, you know what? Since I'm so freaking desperate to get out of this freaking horrible, miserable, negative state, I'm so freaking desperate, I will try anything. Please, I'm begging you, anybody give me anything. And listening to it, I swear y'all, it was like a higher being, a higher calling was giving me all the answers, all the information that I have been seeking to really get me out of the place that I was in. And y'all, this won't work for everybody. Depending on your level of mental illness, this stuff may not work for you. Let me make that very, very clear. but luckily it did a number on me. So at that moment, I really became obsessed with self-development. And in that film, they gave so many examples of what happens, what occurs when you start changing the story that you tell yourself in your mind. So at that moment, I remember I started really focusing on replacing those bad and negative thoughts that I had been telling myself for so many years. And one thing that's very important, and I had to learn this the hard way, I spent most of my life either being told or telling myself that I was not worthy, that I was not good enough, that I was fat, that I was ugly, that I was too short, that nobody wanted me. I spent so many years telling myself that story, that was a story that was embedded into my subconscious. And if you're not aware of the subconscious, which I spent an entire year studying because I became obsessed with it, the subconscious mind is the area of your mind that really dictates and controls your life, but it's the part of your mind that you are not consciously aware of. So if you're someone that was like me, that was extremely insecure, and ladies, listen, yes, men do get insecure too. And I felt like I was the most insecure man on the entire planet. But if you're someone like me that had very low self-esteem and had a whole lot of insecurities, then those insecurities lived in your subconscious because they dictate what you do and how you move. I remember I used to have to wear a hat on my head all the time. Nobody had ever seen me without a hat on my head, and it was because I was balding and I was 19 years old, losing my hair, and I felt insecure about that because people would look up at my head and I could tell that they were judging my premature balding. They would be having a conversation at me but looking at my head. So that made me insecure, and those feelings lived inside of my subconscious. So when I became aware of the subconscious mind and really how it controls us, it was like, all right, how do I change what's in my subconscious? And what I learned was what lives inside of your subconscious was information that had built up for years in order to embed itself there permanently. So in order for those things to no longer exist there, what I had to do was to feed new information that was going to live in that place. And it had to come from a place of love. Self-love. Now, when I tell you that was the most difficult thing in the world because I had zero love for myself. Zero love for myself. And partially, and I'm gonna return to this story at a later time, but let me give you a little snippet of it. Partially because from the age of 14, when my mom got very ill, to the age of 28 years old, a year span of 14 years, I had only been focusing on her well-being and not that of my own. So I never really got an opportunity to love myself and learn about myself. Here I am, more aware of the subconscious mind, but now I'm being told that I need to love myself more. But now I'm being told that I need to love myself more in order to correct what's going on in there. Well, damn, where do I start? Where am I gonna find this love for myself? Where am I gonna get this? One thing that I heard that I didn't think was gonna work, but I was surprised that it did, was simply start telling yourself a better story. Start telling yourself that you love yourself. If you repeat it enough times with the right emotion, the emotion of love, then it actually becomes your truth. That still was like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That doesn't resonate with me. Like, that's not gonna work for me. I need something else. And it was this thought right here that forever brain fucked me, mind fucked me. Excuse my language, but it was this thought right here. Negative thoughts and positive thoughts cannot exist in the mind at the same time. And I remember thinking, I was like, yo, what the fuck? That makes so much sense. There's no possible way that you could be negative and positive at the same time. So if you're repeating something that's positive over and over, negativity can exist in that space. All right, there's something to this. I gotta figure this out. But with more and more practice and more studying about this stuff, I learned that there's so much more to it. And I can think of two right now, and I'm gonna have to share them with you. So one would be, all right, deciding on what you would want your life to look like. What does a good day look like for you? Attaching yourself to a goal. Because when you attach yourself to a goal and have a healthy obsession about obtaining that goal, it leaves no room for doubt. It leaves no room for doubt when you believe in that goal strong enough and you do everything that's in your power without stepping or stomping on anyone else's toes, but you do everything in your power to achieve it. Because what it does is it has you moving in a forward direction rather than moving backwards. People might say that I'm stuck, meaning that here I am. There is something that's above me, a higher, and then there's something that's below me. Some people feel that they live right here, and I felt like I was in that place for a long time. But when actuality, I was constantly moving backwards. There is no still. You're only going in one direction in life. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. There's no in between. And these are not my words. I learned these from some experts, but they couldn't have been more right. I was constantly going backwards because when I look at where I was, everything was going downhill rapidly, fast. Nothing was moving forward. And you know what the funny thing about that is? It's just like with bad thoughts and good thoughts. The bad thoughts, those ones that are so quick and easy to show up, since the emotion that you give them is so real, guess what? Those things, they show up quick. Those bad thoughts, those bad ideas, they can show up in your life real quick. If not the same day, then the next day. But that good, it takes work. It's not easy. Just like it's not easy to live in that negative state, just like it's not easy to be miserable, to have all those bad experiences happen to you, that stuff is hard. It hurts. It sucks. But in order to live on the other side of that, you have to work for it. And that process is hard. It sucks. Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. But the other side, to fight for it, to obtain it, is worth it. After me doing everything that I could in my power at that time, while I was at that job, I was constantly reading a book. And I can give you a list. Actually, one of the first ones that I started reading, and I highly, highly recommend it. It's my favorite book, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Got the link to it down in the description box below. Make sure you use my link when you buy that book. It's only about $11, I believe. It might be even less than that now. But Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, is literally, like the title says, it's about like a different perspective type of thinking and growing rich in every area of your life. Think, like really wake up to the thoughts and ideas and grow rich. I absolutely highly recommend that book to any and everyone that's watching this right now. Just to give you a little background story on that book that might get you a little excited to want to read it. Basically, Napoleon Hill and his mentor at the time, they went around to all the greats of their time, talking about Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Abraham Lincoln, Einstein, and interviewed these guys, which blows my mind that this actually happened. But they interviewed these guys because they wanted to figure out what set them apart from the average Joe. Like, how is it that you are able to achieve everything that you achieve and the average Joe is struggling? Like, what sets you apart? And each one of them had the exact same answer. I had a burning desire to achieve what it is that I set my heart out for. That self-belief. So definitely, you guys, check that book out. I highly recommend it. So I was at this job, driving the shuttle, reading my books, assuming content, knowledge, information, videos like this. Videos like this that you're watching right now. And it really started to mold and shape the way my mind would process information and the way that I was thinking. I mean, to the point where I was playing these type of videos and cassettes while I sleep, because I knew that with the subconscious mind, it was a little bit more awakened in sleep mode. Ain't that something? In sleep mode, the electrical chemistry in your brain is heightened to another level. So I would let these audios play while I was asleep so that the information would feed in my subconscious mind, and I would only hope that I would wake up and view life differently than I had been. And with that being said, I want y'all to understand something. A lot of the stuff that y'all will hear me say throughout all these videos, it will be repetitive, and it has to be, because in order for the stuff to really stick in our minds, we need to hear it more than once. So I would even recommend going back, and some of you have told me that you've done this on my previous video, but going back and hearing this stuff all over again. Since I'm posting 4 videos a month, y'all might want to watch or listen to them a couple of times a week, each video, because that's the only way the stuff is going to stick and really be what you need it to be in order to replace the story that's been in your mind for so many years. Also, any of the stuff that I share with you guys as far as tools and tricks and tips that I've used is not enough for you to just hear me say it. You need to go out there and use them yourself for these videos to actually be worthwhile for you. Because if you just listen to me and you walk away and go on about your day, then you sat here and wasted 20-30 minutes of your life and time for nothing. In order for this stuff to work, you have to try and apply it yourself and see what it can do for you. Here I am consuming and learning all this stuff, and something has clicked, something has changed within me, and my attitude towards the world, towards everyone, towards myself is beginning to change, and people are noticing it. First, it started off as these people really didn't want to hear me open my mouth on this job. Just drive me to my location, don't talk to me, I don't want to hear nothing from you. To now, everyone that got on that shuttle, and I saw about 200 plus people a day, every single one of them looked forward to riding with me to work each and every single day. It was funny because it got to this point where people would tell me, hey, I believe in you. I know you're gonna do whatever it is that you set your heart out to do. I remember there was this one guy, he was a hot shot, you know, he had a very prestigious job working at our top hospital here in Georgia. I remember one day he was like, hey, young man, tell me your name. I was like, why? He was like, I'm either gonna read about you one day or I'm gonna hear about you on the news or TV for doing something great. So I gotta make sure I remember your name. And I remember being super humbled by that and feeling like, wow. And that feeling that I got of somebody thinking so highly of me was like the best thing ever, especially coming from someone of his position. And I'm not saying this out of ego or to toot my own horn or anything like that, but I remember at that time thinking, damn, do these people believe in me more than I believe in me? Like, is that what's happening right now? If me saying this stuff and having the mindset that I just newly acquired, this is enough for people to believe in me? I actually came to the realization that they only believed in me because I believed in me. For the first time ever, I believed in myself. Because I believe in myself, now other people believe in me as well. Wow. I didn't see this coming. So you're telling me all those years where I had self-doubt, I didn't believe in myself, no one else believed in me, they doubted me as well. All that time, no one else believed in me because I didn't believe in me. Now I can see it already. After this video, I'm gonna have hundreds of comments of people saying, how do I start believing in myself? Well, what I did was I had to stop playing the victim role and the self-pity. I had to stop the self-pity because that is counterproductive. But you guys, I'm about to tell y'all a little secret right now. I don't tell a lot of people this. This is something that I use to empower me, and I don't know if it's gonna work for you all. It worked phenomenally well for me. It was just a trigger that I needed to help light a fire underneath my belt. And I'm gonna say something that I'm pretty sure a lot of you all would disagree with, and it's perfectly okay, but this is exactly what I told myself. As human beings, we are the gods of this planet, capable of communicating and creating on a level that no other creature can. They say that God created us in his likeness or in her likeness. To me, that meant that, that has to be that we are God-like. When you look at all the technical advances that we have in our modern era, you all are probably watching me from a device that you thought would have been impossible 20, 30 years ago. But the fact that somebody believed in it, somebody believed that it was possible, and they were responsible enough to create it and make it happen, shows that we were put here on this planet to create on a level that no other creature on this planet could. Really messed with me. It really messed with me. It made me feel like, here I've been all these years, just playing pity patty with myself and not realizing that I am a phenomenal creature. And if I can only tap into what makes humans great and use that to my advantage, then man, the possibilities are endless. And that was what I attached myself to, that belief that I can strengthen this to a level far greater than I could have possibly imagined at that time. You guys, I'm gonna end this right here. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I've been filming for an hour now. But I don't know what you may take from this video. I don't even know how it's gonna come out when I edit it. But nonetheless, I have so much more. There's so much more that I can say about this stuff. This is the stuff that be on my mind all day, every day. It's a bit scattered. I know, I apologize. Nonetheless, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I can't wait for the next one. If there's any one thing that I can think of that I would want from you guys to take from this video is belief. Believing that you can do it. That's where it all starts. That's where it all starts, no matter what it is that you set your mind out to do. Believing without a sheer doubt that you can make it happen. But anyway, y'all, this is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know where to find me. Artie Kicks everywhere, all social media. And I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one.